Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 18 of the Hungry People Podcast, the hungriest podcast in America. My name is Michael Patrick Buckley, and I'm here with your co-host, AJ Diveka, baby. We got an ecstatic, special guest for us today, Samps living, also known as Brandon.
Welcome to Samps living, baby.
I love it. But yeah, we got a lot of great stuff to talk about. We're so excited. Everyone, how's it going? What's going on?
It's going awesome. I'm super excited to have you on today, man.
Thanks, bro. I'm super excited to be here. As y'all know, I've been going through a crazy journey and kind of navigating and maneuvering way through my personal health for a while. So I'm glad to be on here to provide an outlet and give the people a lens of what I'm going through in a more, kind of a longer context.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, hey, we all go through stuff. We all got to do what's best for us. And hey, for real, we live and learn. I mean, 100%. We live and learn, and there's always new perspectives out there. There's people doing stuff that we might not agree with, but then like one day we're like, wow, maybe I do need that, So
totally.
Yeah, but anyways, let's just get started with your journy here and talk about.
Well, actually, I just wanted to say something.
Yeah, AJ, fired up, baby.
Until today, I didn't even know your name, man. I always knew you as Light Samps. I didn't know your name was Brandon.
Hey, man. Everyone knows me as Light Samps.
Yeah, right. Well, what's funny?
I introduced myself at parties as Light Samps.
That's
I was once in the middle of the Mount Shasta, and then somebody was looking at me all weird, like, "Who is that guy?" And then I said I was Light Samps, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's Light Samps!"
No way.
They're like, all I had to say was a magic word. So it's kind of amazing how much these messages reach out and go to all these different people, bro. Because I'm not some giant hot shot, but I definitely have a little bit of a following, and it's just amazing how much it reaches out there to the world.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, well, let me further feed your ego a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. Aside from Dan McDonald, I would say you're probably the most requested person to come on the podcast.
Hey, I'm so glad I'm here then. Yeah, no, that makes me happy, honestly. Dan was Dan was my inspiration for everything. So grateful for Dan. God literally connected us in Kauai by the strangest, thing of events. I planned to go to Kauai just to go to the Kauai. I knew Dan was there. In the back of my mind, I knew I was going to meet him. And I was going to a farmer's market, and I was there with my family. And I was at the farmer's market. My dad comes up to me. He says, "Hey, son, there's a guy over in the corner that eats mangoes just like you." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Oh, he's out there like just eating mangoes with his hands." And I'm like, "Oh, cool, another fruitarian." So let me go talk to him. And then I get closer and closer. I realize it's Dan McDonald. I'm like, "Oh man, honestly, bro, that was like my meeting Michael Jordan, bro. Like my meeting Kobe Bryant. Like that was like the one." So I was so happy.
That's awesome.
And just like so blessed, and me and him had a great experience. So anyway, that's a story for another time. But anyway, shout out Dan McDonald, dude. He's a legend.
Yeah. I was on the phone with him yesterday.
Yeah, that's AJ's boy.
Oh yeah, I love that guy, man. How's he doing?
He's doing good. He's actually living in Arizona right now. He's off Kauai.
Oh, he's out, huh?
Yeah,
he's getting a little too weird in Hawaii right now.
Yeah. He's visiting Tavis, I believe.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that dude's a legend too.
No. So if you wouldn't mind, because I don't really have too much of a reference, I hear about you a lot more than I know about you. So if you could just take it from the beginning, kind of just where you started with all this, and fill us in, because MP knows you, but and I'm sure a lot of our viewers do, but I really don't know much. And for the people who don't, I think it'd be great to get you where you get started with all this.
Yeah, totally. So about 6.5 years ago, I started to get some crazy health issues, Crohn's disease. Pretty much my entire GI system was inflamed. I was like scared to go to the bathroom. It hurt all the time. Didn't know what to eat. Anything I eat, I just got messed up. I was going through it. I was going in and out of the doctors. No doctor said, anything was curable. As a matter of fact, they all said it was incurable, and I was going to have to live with these conditions for the rest of my life. And I was just couldn't take that for an answer. Actually, the breaking point, let's get right to the gritty details with the followers here, was they wanted me to take a stool sample and literally, can we cuss on this channel?
Yeah. You can cuss.
Okay. So they wanted me to shit in this tube and put it in my freezer, and then shit it in again and put it in the freezer, and then repeat for about a week, and then take it back to them so they could figure out what's going on in my body. And I'm sitting here with two other roommates that are guys. We're all like in our like mid-20s. And I'm like, I'm not about to tell my roommates that there is a bucket of my fresh shit in the freezer. Don't touch it. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm serious. So I had this conversation and I'm like, wow, dude, this is not it. So I got to go home and I got to take health in my own hands. And that was literally what snapped it for me. Wow. And so I went home and I was studying everything. And I came across, you know, the basic stuff, like, you know, people say that like meat is acidic and these things are acidic. Well, the whole alkaline, you know, acidic balance. So I'm like, well, let me try that out. So instantly I like threw away everything that was on the acidic list or whatever, you know, just to like really alkaline my body. And then about like 3 or 4 nights of researching, I found raw veganism and I found Dan McDonald. And so I pretty much made the flip to raw like instantly, because I was like, wow, I need to heal. I need to do something, because like this is just terrible. So, and it wasn't no type of fancy raw. I mean, I was pretty much just starting out like doing like 20 bananas a day. Seriously. Like, I went to Trader Joe's. I would get the boxes of the big bananas. Yeah. And I would come home and I would just smash banana smoothie, fruit smoothie, all these things. And I slowly started to, you know, dissolve the cooked food. And then after, you know, maintaining 100% raw for like 6 months, literally 100% of my symptoms went away from the Crohn's disease. Yeah, I wasn't doing fancy herbs. I wasn't doing enema. Hadn't even done one enema yet. Some people know me as Enema King back in the day. I mean, I was just always doing them. I got a step-by-step video on YouTube. You want to see how to do an enema, you go watch. I do it on camera. Anyways, so I'm in there, and 6 months I'm healed. I'm thinking, whoa, dude, there's something to this lifestyle. This is great. So I just kept doing it, kept living it. And then I started to get more intense. I started to do the mono fruit fast. I started to do, let me live off watermelon for a week. Let me live off grapes for a couple of weeks. And then the big one was I did a 65-day juice fast. And then after that, I started to teach people, you know, what I was doing. And, you know, a lot of people started coming at me like, wanted information. And so I started to do coaching with people, and I started to talk with people, you know, 3-4 people a week. And I did that for about a year. And where I was just teaching people and helping people as much as I could, just offering my perspective and my experience and what helped me, you know.
How are you feeling at that time?
I was feeling great. I was feeling on top of the world, bro. I mean,
so when you were doing the mono stuff, were you feeling like more benefit, or were you feeling like you just wanted to do it as an ideal kind of thing?
I was feeling really good, bro. I was tapping into more and more of the subtle energy, you know. And I was starting. So you start to only take in the high energy fruits, the fruits that grow off the ground, the fruits that grow in the trees. You know, the higher the fruit grows, the more ascending it is. You start to eat all these things and just on apples and oranges and mangoes and papayas and, you know, all these things all day long. I mean, all of my consciousness was just right here, and it was just and I started to fall in love with that lifestyle. And I started to, and it's a lifestyle. It's not just the way you eat, because you have to incorporate it in, because then you start to understand all these small things that take away your energy. You start to understand, oh, that conversation with that person just drained my energy. Oh, just doing this job for this person just drained my energy. You start to become so sensitive to all of the subtle energies, and it just becomes a whole lifestyle. And I became hooked on it, and I really liked it. You know, I was probably one of the biggest people on Instagram doing doing fruit fasts with people. You know, I was doing melon fasts with leading 200 people. I mean, Literally, you can go to Instagram and type in the hashtag #melonfast 2K19, and you will see hundreds of people eating melon for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, a week, 2 weeks. I mean, I was literally just, and then
That's
I did.
epic.
Yeah, it was epic. I mean, it was fun. People were feeling healing benefits. People were going through, people were lightening up. People were experiencing, oh, I don't need this every single day to live. Like, I just ate watermelon for 3 days and I felt great. Matter of fact, I had the best bowel clean out of my life,
Right.
off just watermelon, things like that. So I fell in love with the lifestyle.
That's awesome. Yeah, real quick. When you first started studying in the beginning, who were you really studying from? Was it like Dr. Morse? Was it
Yes.
other guys like that,
Yeah. So it was definitely Dan McDonald first. And
Okay.
Once I started to really tap into Dan, I started to pick up on the sources that he would talk about. His sources like Robert Morse,
Corona.
his sources like Lou Corona, like even some of the OG, fasters, in the fasting, but like Hilton Hotima and Herbert Shelton, other faster dude. And just a lot of the ancient texts around fasting and things like that, the Essene Gospel of Peace, all these things.
Arnold Arrett.
Yeah, Arnold Arrett Arrett was a legend, the mucusless diet, all of that.
Right.
And so, but then, me, I'm a guy who wants to do everything 100% right. And I'm a guy who gets borderline obsessive with anything he does. And I want to be the best at it. And I want to know everything about it, so I bought all the books. I did all the reading. I went through all the knowledge and I applied it all. I was doing like a weekly, like a 24 or 72 hour fast. I mean, like, I was doing that like every single week for a long time. And then I would do like a week water fast, which is like still my longest I've ever done a water fast is a week.
Wow.
And anyways, that's kind of aside the thing, but yeah, I was tapping into everything, dude, everything that I possibly could.
Wow. That's insane. AJ?
Were you noticing like accumulative benefits as you went on? Like did you start like declining in any way or noticing any patterns you didn't like? Or was it like you were like steadily ebbing and flowing and building yourself in a way that you wanted to?
I was definitely ebbing and flowing. Yeah. I mean, I was feeling pretty good. I was never feeling like I was like totally drained. Here's the thing. I know, this conversation is going to steer into a different direction a little bit, but I want to make it clear that like when I was on this lifestyle, I never felt like I was lacking anything. I honestly felt good, like really good, like the best I've like ever felt. I still feel really good right now in that same way, but I was never like lacking on that lifestyle. But I was also doing things like to my knowledge and to my benefit, to like the best I possibly could. Like I ate raw for 6 years, like pretty much 100%, and I was able to do that because I was doing it in my eyes successfully. And kind of in my eyes successfully means not going too far off the bend on just strict fruits, things Space like Caddy. That. Yeah, dude, I was the guy who was on Instagram saying, you guys need to eat your fat. Right. You guys are not going to make it on this raw lifestyle 100%. If you're not eating avocado, if you're not eating coconut meat, if you're not eating hemp seeds, like these fats are so important for the brain and for the hormones and for your whole body. So I would be the guy with 3 avocados and a salad at night. Yeah. And somebody would be telling me that I'm doing it wrong. But then 2 years later, I'm still on the same diet and I see them and they snapped.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
well, that's the thing. I feel like people misunderstand the Robert Morse stuff, and it's not even their fault essentially, but it's like a detox program, not like you live in detox 24/7. And when I first started interacting with Dan, he was like, bro, you need amino acids, you need fat, you need minerals. And that's a big misconception. A lot of people just do fruit for like a year and they're not getting really good results. So I really appreciate the fact that you were pushing that as well.
Oh yeah, totally. And I was, I went through a big lifting phase, and the strongest I've ever been in my life was in the middle of that raw stunt. I got up to 190 pounds No, I got pictures to prove it, dude. I was pretty jacked when I was, doing lifting a lot of weight and eating a lot, man. I'd get home from the gym and just smack like 10 mangoes, like 1,000-calorie meal, just like boom, So like,
How
there's
tall are
definitely, I'm 6'3".
6'3", okay.
Yeah, so 6'3", 190 is pretty fair, pretty fair. Some people say I'm 6'4", I don't know.
No, yeah, I can definitely see it though. Like with the fruit, everyone talks about like that electricity, So I feel like a lot of times we can just be so sparked up and so energized, and like we don't ever come down. And I feel like we need that come down for our entire body, even, especially for our nervous system, and like you're talking about the brain too, And I feel like people just don't understand that. They just think like only fruit, only fruit. But I mean, I actually remember seeing you in videos on your story, like, hey, with your spoon and you're slapping the avocados and stuff and mixing it all in. It's hilarious, epic,
Yeah, man. Hey, you're right, bro.
But
it's a spectrum, bro. Because people stay on that bliss spectrum, and like I like to be there too, bro. But everything in life is a spectrum. So if you're always here, dude, is coming.
Right.
If you don't balance it out, like it's gonna come. So
right. Awesome. Yes. Yeah, and I actually remember back in the day, AJ, were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say that I think that part of that spectrum as well is just where people are at too, because some people don't feel the bliss at all. Some people just feel like crap doing fruits. And there's just so many elements to being able to really metabolize fruits on like the best level so that you're having the optimum results. And like how many people are eating 100% like fruit diet or like a raw diet, and they don't pay attention to sleep. They don't pay attention to water or moving as much as they focus on diet. And I feel like they put themselves in that little box and they're like, yeah, this is the best diet ever. But then to everyone else looking from the outside in, it's like, I don't necessarily want your results. So I think that the fruit diet, it can be so optimized and so good. But I would highlight like a lot of other things, like Harley back in the day when he was durian rider as a raw vegan, he was like sleep. If you want to metabolize the sugars right, he would wake up, he would go to bed late and test his blood sugar and show like, hey, I'm not metabolizing these sugars. Sleep essential, So I feel like so many people are not focusing on those other factors. Do you agree?
I absolutely agree. I mean, I think people just, if they stopped arguing with strangers on the internet, they would start to feel better too, dude. I mean, it's like there's so many things, there's so many factors. Like, it doesn't matter how clean of a diet you're eating. Like, if you're online arguing to strangers all day, your vibe is whack. Right. Like that's just, I mean, obviously there's so many things, sleep, rest, and physical connection, even getting touched by people, even things like that. I mean, they show like gorillas who don't get touched, like they start to go into a depression and like die after couple weeks if they're young, if they're not getting any attention. Even just the importance of like hugs are literally so impactful. So yeah, food is a very, very, very small part of course, but it also plays a huge role because it obviously the type of food you put in your body produces different results, just like putting different, food in the different fuel in the car gives you different results. But it's like at this rate, it's like you gotta be even more careful if it's even food or chemicals. Like that's the biggest thing, is like there's just so many chemicals, man.
Right.
I'm with you on that too.
Yeah, but what I want to say earlier was that I remember watching your videos on YouTube, and I'm not kidding. I was actually like taking notes about what you were saying just because I wanted to learn. I think I still have the notes.
There's some gems, bro.
Yeah, dude, you have some great stuff. I mean, big energy, big vibes, which is awesome, But I wanted to ask you about like fasting, and I also want to talk about like kidney filtration too. Now, when you were in that stage of like doing a bunch of water fasts, I heard you said you would do like a 24-hour fast, like once a week. Like, were you consistently like intermittent fasting as well too? Or were you just kind of like, just like eating breakfast in the morning and whatnot?
Yeah, bro, I was definitely intermittent fasting for a long time during that. Mostly because I felt the gains in the weight room, bro. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, the intermittent fasting really helped because, the idea behind that, of course, is you get the human growth hormone increase after so many hours.
Right, 16 or something, maybe.
Yeah, it boosts way up. It goes like, I don't know, like 500-600% or after so many hours or something. Don't quote me on anything, but it's been a while since I did that. But essentially, your human growth hormone goes through the roof, and then once you break that fast, your body is just sucks everything up and just goes straight to your
Right.
body and to your muscles. And that's mainly why I did it. And then it started to just become comfortable, and then I started to just create this thought that it was like, oh, maybe we're not even supposed to eat breakfast type thing, which is kind of possibly maybe not the best thought to have, but it was kind of this I don't know, something that you see a lot in the community, that like, oh, breakfast is like the least important meal. Like,
Yeah,
you don't need
right.
breakfast, like things like that, So I think it developed as intermittent fasting, and then I just got comfortable with it. And then
Right.
I felt fine. So I was like, well, why waste the money on fruit, dude? All this high quality fruit I'm buying is expensive. If I can skip a meal, get away with it, cool.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So like, not to fast forward, but I'm going to ask it now. Like, I know that we've talked about some of like the quote unquote pro metabolic people online and like pro thyroid people, and they're huge on eating breakfast. They're like, get up. Once you get up, like 30 minutes, eat breakfast, or like at the latest an hour, eat breakfast, at least get something into you. Now, hearing that and hearing that perspective, like, what are your thoughts on that? And would you change anything that you did back then? Like, would you have approached your lifestyle differently, knowing what you know now and hearing those experiences?
Where's the deal? Yeah, I gotta talk about everything now because, so like I said, when I was on the raw diet, I felt great. I didn't feel like I was lacking anything. Now for the viewers and everyone who's new to all of this, I recently went through a crazy operation in my mouth, and I'll take it out. Here's the fake tooth right here. Right here. Got this fake tooth. All right.
Hey, you still look great.
Thanks, bro. And at the start of this year, I had to get this tooth extracted because I had a root canal that was very, very, very infected, and it was starting to inflame my whole face. And so I finally got into the dentist to take a look at it. Just because I don't like going there, man. I got so much trauma from previous dentist stuff. I'm just like, well, I got to now, because if this thing goes to my brain, I'm dead. So I went in there and I had to get it extracted, and I had so much infection in there that they had to scrape out from about here to here in the front of my jaw, and the infection went to my jaw, and they had to do what's called a bone graft, which is they scrape out my original bone and then they put in animal bone, and then they close it back up and sew it up. And my existing bone and my animal bone and the animal bone that they put in fuse together. Now, typically they only do this with like a 1 packet of animal bone, which is about 1,000 pieces of small bone. This was so bad they had to do 3 packets. So they had to do 3,000 pieces of small animal bone.
Oh my gosh.
In my mouth. So you can imagine how that might feel when you wake up. I was put under. That was the first time I was ever put under IV. And I got up and it felt like there was a brick in my mouth. It felt like there was a foreign object in my mouth. And it was that bone trying to fuse to my existing bone. And I was faced with a couple weeks of just the biggest inflammation in my head while my bone was trying to heal. And it was pretty much the hardest point in my life as far as dealing with something physically. I never broke a bone before, didn't have a whole lot of issues, but this was extremely uncomfortable and extremely painful and extremely just bad news, but it needed to be done. So I was happy the infection was out, but then I had to deal with this fusing of the bone. So about 8 months go by or so of me on the same diet I was doing before, which was mostly raw with some cooked vegan food. And I noticed, well, hey, this isn't healing in my mouth the way it should be. This bone is not fusing, and it's been 8 months. This ain't good.
Right.
This ain't good at all. So I started to introduce more cooked vegan food, and then pretty much just went like full cooked, because I'm like, let me just get all the calories I possibly can in. I still did not notice any difference. I still didn't notice any difference at all. And
would you mind sharing what cooked food you were eating?
As far as when I started to do the cook, just like lots of like, lentils and potatoes and, chickpea and like, beans and rice and steamed veggies.
So it wasn't like sandwiches and cereal and things like that.
No, like whole plant-based,
McDougal style.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, still like kind of high carb, but then like, and like lots of avocado, and still, trying to do the best I can. And wasn't making any progress still. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, this is pretty sketchy. And then also I did so many antibiotics because I had to do antibiotics, or else this was going to get so infected. Obviously I didn't even want to do antibiotics because I know how much they destroy the body, but there's a time and place where you just got to bite the bullet. And so I had to do it. And then here's the thing, the first thing I did was like, I feel like this was like God and opening this door for me in this way, because I just kept getting this signal, dude, you need to drink goat kefir. You need to drink goat kefir. You need to drink goat kefir. And I said, okay. And then obviously I knew my microbiome was destroyed from the antibiotics. So I knew the goat kefir was going to inoculate my insides with as much beneficial bacteria as it possibly can. So I just started slamming down the goat kefir, which obviously, which had, obviously goat milk too. So I'm getting, vitamins A, D, E, K, and things like that, which is pretty abundant. Lots of, bioavailable calcium and things like that too. And I started to feel better, not only in my gut and in my body, but also in my mouth. And I'm thinking, And so I started to drink like 2 bottles a week, and like pick things like up to here. Damn. And then I started to continue just like slamming this goat kefir down. And then I'm like, I started to feel, my mouth started to feel a little bit better, like incrementally better day by day. Like I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like this might have been the density that I was needing. And then from there, I pretty much was, I went to a place with my friends that had it was a fried egg place. If there's any of the Cure fans listening, there's a fried egg, I'm in love is what it's called. Anyways, fried egg, I'm in love. So we get there, they had a vegan egg option. And I'm thinking, okay, cool. I'll just get the vegan egg option. Because at that time I was just only doing the kefir, and I was like, eggs were still a little trippy to me. So I'll do the vegan egg. I get there, I pull up, and then I start thinking about this vegan egg. I start thinking, dang, there's like 20 ingredients in this egg, and the second ingredient is canola oil. I'm like, do I really want this, or do I just want one ingredient, egg? And I'm like, eggs, like it or not, have been a foundation of human growth for freaking thousands of years. Right. And I'm like, okay, well, let me just have the one egg instead of this crazy concoction. And now, obviously, I didn't need to have any of that, but that was just where I was at. So I had the egg, and then I felt pretty good after I ate that fried egg. And I was like, well, let me start to have some eggs now. So I started to buy my own local pasture-raised, corn-free, soy-free eggs from a farm. Started to scramble up eggs every single morning with avocado. So, and then I started to do the goat kefir with avocado and eggs in the morning. And then I started to even feel more nourished in a way that I haven't felt nourished in a while, especially like in my mouth. Obviously, I started to feel more bone growth. And I'm like, well, this is like, I stopped doing anything for anything else, and I just tried to do anything I could to heal this area. Like this is my only concern at all. So I started to do that more and more, and I started to feel better. And then from there, and I went to the coast with, my fiance. We got some clam chowder, had clam chowder for the first time in a long time. Started to feel pretty good. And all of a sudden started eating some fish, wild caught fish. And I noticed once I started getting the fish in there, like salmon, things like that, that really helped provide some density to get more, I don't know what it is. I mean, if it's the amino acids, if it's the fatty acids, if it's whatever, if it's just the density of having, like flesh inside my body, like I'll say it how it is, like it started to produce results that I don't think were possible, because like I was doing well, I was doing great as far as maintaining on that lifestyle health. I was even building when I was lifting weights, but it wasn't producing enough bone growth, at least like new bone growth in my body. And since then, yeah, I've been eating breakfast every morning. So there's a long-winded answer to your question, bro.
So, as far as the healing in your mouth, what did it feel like? Because you said you could feel it healing. Was it like less inflammation? Did it feel stronger?
Yeah, stronger. So whenever I bite down, it felt less weak. It's starting to feel more and more like the rest of my teeth. It's starting to feel that way. But whereas before, if I were to I couldn't take a bite out of an apple. It wasn't strong enough. Like it hurt. It just like, and you could feel the teeth moving. I could like after 8 months, they was moving still slightly. And I'm like, oh no, these things got to be tight by now. Right. And yeah, so it was between that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Were all of your, like the front teeth in that area, were they connected to the new part of the bone? Like, were they not affected when they took the bone out, the jawbone?
So they were able to scrape like the part that was infected and keep whatever else was there to the bone. It definitely did, impact like this tooth and this tooth next to it, right, because these teeth have shifted a little bit, and it's definitely impacted and changed them some. So yeah, I would say from like four or five teeth up here seemed impacted from the operation.
Wow. What what do you think the biggest reason was that you had the root canal? Do you know, or did it just kind of like come out of nowhere?
Yeah, I mean,
and how'd you know? Like you could feel it in your mouth, like there's just that pain
from that I needed to get it removed.
Yeah, or that how'd you know it was there?
Because dude, it was started to have this crazy inflammation, and it started to also leak out this pus. And where I could literally almost pop it like a zit, and I could get it to drain. And then so this shit would be draining out of my mouth. And I must have drained it like 10 times. And I'm thinking, I gotta stop doing this because this is pretty scary. So I gotta get in and get this thing yanked out, dude. So
wow. Yeah. So
do you know, was it a root canal though?
Yeah, it was originally a root canal. A root canal that I probably got that root canal when I was like probably sometime in like my teens or something, maybe late teens. But root canals, what I've come to learn, are just the devil. I mean, they are the worst thing they're the worst thing on planet Earth as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, for anyone interested, there's a documentary called, I think it's called Rooted or Roots, or it's about
root cause, maybe.
Root cause, yeah, that's what it was. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, very powerful stuff. I mean, leaving in tissue that is rotting and defective.
Yeah. Essentially, in a nutshell, your body is just sending signals saying, "What is this dead piece of flesh doing in my tooth? What's this rotting piece doing here?" And it's sending signals all day long, and your body just can't do nothing about it. So you're immune compromised 24/7 with a root canal.
Wow. Yeah. So I think the question I was kind of getting at earlier was like, do you think it was the fruit that like made it worse, or do you think that like it was going to happen regardless, like this getting infected? Like, do you think like that played a part, or do you think it just kind of like you knew it was going to come?
Well, here's the thing, like, I mean, the research that I am looking at right now, it's really making my head spin. It's really got me thinking that diet possibly was not the best choice for my dental health. And I really, really wanted it to be my best choice. I really wanted it to work. And I think this whole like species specific diet thing gets thrown out there too much. Like people
bullshit.
want, yeah. people, and I was that person. I'm like, well, this has to work because this is the species specific diet. Like the fruit is the species specific diet. Like it just made the most sense. It obviously made the most sense because that's where I was putting my most energy. But you know, like I said, I love the lifestyle, and I'll get into it and I'll talk about how much I love it even more. But the fact is, I'm coming across this information from Weston Price, and this information from Weston Price is just mind-boggling. He has this book called what's it called? It's called Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. And in this book, it's literally the most comprehensive advanced studies that you could ever do relating nutrition and oral health. It doesn't get any deeper. There's no study that will ever come close. Just an example, something that this guy's even done, he's literally tested biological twins, one that stayed in the tribe in the jungles eating an ancestral diet, and then one that leaves and goes into the Western world and eats their diet. And then he does tests on them 5 years later, same exact genes, biological twins. The one that stayed in the tribe and ate the ancestral diet, 0 cavities, 0 issues with the jaw. Bear in mind, these people don't even brush their teeth.
Yeah.
This person that went out to the Western society and ate, you know, I'm sure lots of white sugar, white flour, yada, 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 everything else, developed cavities, developed abscesses, developed all these issues, mouthful of issues, same genes, same upbringing, just one split and one stayed in the tribe and one didn't. And there's studies like that are just blow my mind because they, you know, and there's countless times that he's shown where anytime that these tribes move away from their local game where they can hunt, all their nutrition, all their dental stuff just plummets. It just plummets and it gets terrible. And it's interesting because it's always when they stop eating the wild game, when they stop eating the organ meats, things like that. I mean, organ meats, you know, make a lot of people go, ooh, you know, and it's like organ meats, like, oh my God. But the truth is, like, in these like sacred, like OG tribes, they look at all these organs as like the most sacred thing. Like they eat the liver first and they eat the heart, they chop it up, put it in soups, things like that. And what Weston Price has found is these liver meats and all these things have such a crazy impact on dental health. And I'm just sitting here like, oh my gosh, I'm like the raw vegan dude. I'm like doing all this fat. I'm like, and I'm sitting here looking at the benefits of organ meats for dental health, but I can't deny it. I can't deny this information that I'm coming across. I'm not, and I'm a big person that like, okay, I want to be attracted to the food. I'm not attracted to that, you know. I'm really not even attracted to like a slab of like beef, to be honest with you, dude. Like I have had beef a couple times since doing this, and I don't even really like picking it up, to be quite honest. Like there's still a lot in me that's like, oh my God, like I'm buying this, like I'm doing this, but at the same time, I'm doing this because it's making my teeth feel better. Like literally, I ate a venison burger and the next morning, my gum was built up in a place that was receding before, just from eating one freaking venison burger, then wild caught. The next morning I woke up, I put the tongue in the back of my mouth by my wisdom tooth, and the gum started growing over my wisdom tooth more where it was receding after one freaking burger.
Wow.
And so like I'm starting to have these things happen. And the biggest thing honestly has been raw milk. Weston Price talks about raw milk so much. And I found a farmer out here, super low key. He's got 2 cows. I've been going and getting raw milk, and I came from a place where I was so scared to drink milk because, you know, that's how like one of the last things I did before like I started to kick in gear in my health was I had a panic attack because I had a bowl of cereal with milk in it, and like the dairy in the milk gave me a panic attack. I got scared. My mom drove me to the hospital, and so obviously I'm like pretty standoffish when it comes to dairy, but what I'm coming to find out is that pasteurization has so much to do with it. And once I had the raw milk and I let it get to room temperature so the body could absorb it, I drank it. I felt great. I felt lit. You guys aren't gonna believe this, but I felt like I was on a juice fast after I drank raw milk. I started to get so high and I started to feel so good where I'm just like, oh my God, like I need to keep this raw milk in my rotation right now. And
Is it
anyways,
even good?
dude, it is pretty good. It's kind of a trip. It literally has an aftertaste of like hay. Like I literally can like taste the hay. Like, hey man, it's grass fed, right?
Right. Yeah, right. Wow. Well, AJ, go ahead, AJ. No. I was gonna say, like, heck of an experience, and thank you for sharing that. I give you a lot of credit for opening up there and
Totally.
And sharing that experience. And I know there's probably people out there who are, feeling the same way about some stuff. And honestly, that's like one of my biggest fears is my teeth. Like, I don't want my teeth to get fucked up at all, and I know that like playing, like eating a lot of fruit, like potentially there could be issues with that, and that's like where I feel like the minerals play a role. And I like, especially if you're like a raw vegan, you like have to eat your greens, or you better eat your greens, to at least counteract some of that. But, yeah, it's a lot of it is like trippy. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like I'm doing this, or this is actually happening, but yeah, once again, man, thanks for sharing that. So
I agree. And I just wanted to say that I wanted to ask you actually, Brandon, do you think that it was more like you got something that you needed in these foods? I'm sure it's some of that as well, but do you also think that maybe having less of these other foods played a role in some of the healing? Do you think it was more about inclusion or exclusion when it came to this? Because you were already pretty exclusive, eating very natural and not very chemical, things like that. So do you think it was more like you needed that restorative factor when it comes to these foods?
I honestly think I did. I think that there's, if we want to be like break it down real simple, I think there's cleansing foods and I think there's nourishing foods, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I think I was banging my head on the cleansing foods for so long that the only nourishing foods I was really getting was like a couple avocados and or like coconut meat, or like, some things like that. Like I really wouldn't consider a lot of these fruit nourishing. It's very energizing. It's very, it's very electric. But as far as like on a nourishing level, I don't think I was getting that. A lot of the biggest things are like the big fat soluble vitamins, A, D, E, the K2. The K2 is a huge one for teeth. And K2 is, it's pretty tough to get in the plant foods. It's pretty hard to get in that realm, and that K2 is really high in the raw milk and raw cheeses and things like that. So between that, and I also want to say, like, I think that people, here's the thing about that, like people that are on the vegan path and the raw path, they are on that for a reason, because they got benefit from it, right? Like everyone got benefit from it. Whether like this person is like all their acne went away, or this person has so much energy now, or, I used to be overweight, now I'm, and so like everyone kind of has this story. Me, I had Crohn's disease, now I don't, so everyone kind of has these stories, and that cleansing lifestyle, those cleansing foods played a big role. They played a huge role. They allowed so many people to get their body in a state of health. And without all of these cleansing foods, a lot of these people never would have got that far. So I don't like when I see these people that start eating other foods, that start bashing veganism, that start bashing fruits, that start bashing these things, because they probably wouldn't have got where they were if they didn't go through that. Not because they needed to go through being malnourished. No, they needed to go through these cleansing foods. And I think Now, see, I think the issue where people get hung up is that's when they get stuck on the identity. That's when they get stuck on the identity. And this is huge because by then people will have like, told their whole family, they've told all their friends, they have 5,000 followers on Instagram. Oh, now they're selling an ebook. Oh, now they're selling a course. Now they're doing this. Oh, wait, now my whole livelihood is all around this identity that I created for myself. Yeah. And so what can I do now? I can't go eat those other foods that I said I was never going to, because everything in my business is pointing to stay away from those foods. So I can't be this person doing that. Now, let's be real. These people didn't get that way from eating conscious animal products. Everyone got this way from eating loads of BS, right? Chemicals, fast food, drinking, smoking, partying, drugs. A lot of people have that type of past too. And then they go to the raw vegan and they like, oh, they find God and all this stuff. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is they didn't get sick from pasture-raised eggs, raw milk, grass-fed, grass-finished animal products. No, the consciousness was not there. They got sick from the bull crap. So I think there's a lot to be said of going through those cleansing times and knowing how to work with your own body, and then not being scared of possibly branching out and introducing conscious animal products back into the diet if you feel like you need it, or if you feel like you're missing something. If it's working great for you without it, great, like all power to you. It worked great for me until I needed a little bit of extra density. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Even on the 2 interviews ago, I interviewed a kid named Colin Dees. Actually, I went to college with him, and he's a PA, physician assistant, and he's a super smart, super intelligent kid. And he's really into like the Ray Peat stuff. And he did like the carnivore diet, keto, all that kind of junk. And I don't want to call it junk, but I mean, he did that. And now he's more on like the Ray Peat kick. So he does he says he eats like meat and fruit for like his lunch and dinner. Oh yeah. But even what he said is he was basically saying like I probably could have went vegan and probably got similar results. It was just more or less just getting out the shit, getting out all the junk stuff that I didn't need that was fucking up my body. Mm-hmm. And now I feel better, but I do feel like there's a nutritional profile that makes a difference, whether you are getting it from a plant or whether you are getting it from an elk from that was hunted, or a deer. I feel like there's definitely a difference, even just like going to the store and getting like lunch meat versus actually going out and hunting. I feel like there's going to be a huge difference on the body. But yeah, I mean, I know I myself, like, I know I don't plan on eating animal products, especially like in the near future here, but like I can definitely feel and I can definitely understand where people are coming from,
And you both touched on the teeth thing. I feel as though probably the number one concern on a raw vegan diet, if I were looking at it, would be teeth, just because you have put yourself in a restriction. I mean, there's people that come into it and they feel amazing, and then there's people that come into it and they, whether they need to detox or not, they feel worse. But the twofold thing about the teeth for me is like, when you constantly have sugar coming in, and at the same time you may be lacking in some of these fat soluble vitamins or amino acids or proteins or salts or sugars, electrolytes, now you not only are you exposing the teeth all the time, but you have weakened teeth. So it's like a twofold. And it's funny because we just interviewed on our last episode Rain for the podcast, and this guy, he eats up to 5,000, 10,000 calories a day. He's vegan, but
Rain, right? Light Samps.
I think I've heard of him. That's the dude always on the bike, right?
Yeah, Cycling Spirit. He's owner Miami Fruit.
Okay, yeah, I've seen him before. Yeah.
But he's not shy about eating Impossible burgers and things. And the guy has like good looking, healthy teeth. And I feel as though with like, you could be raw vegan for a couple of years, and people, whether they're doing it wrong or right or whatever, they restrict it or not, I feel as though they are more vulnerable, especially to teeth issues, just because of that twofold process. I mean, if you are fully nourished and you do take care of them, I think that, it could be amazing. So, you're going to lose inflammation. There's so many benefits to it, but it's just, I think, a little easier to be put in the box and make it you more susceptible to dental issues just because of that. Because I mean, if you have good solid teeth, yeah, and you're exposing it to sugar, that's not that much of a problem. But if you have weak teeth and you have that, it's like a compound effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. And I think, I mean, there's a lot of things at play here too. I mean, genetics, things like that too. Like, my mom has had a ton of work on her teeth, and, and I know that, some of that was passed down to me too. And obviously, yeah. So, there's lots of factors and things like that. Like I've met, a lot of people a lot of vegans that have, great teeth. Heck, I feel like I had great teeth for a long time too. Looking back at my pictures and I can see myself smiling, I'm thinking, wow, my teeth did look a lot better, and they did look a lot fuller, like halfway into my journey. But that's I just gotta start thinking like, oh man, did they start thinning out because I wasn't getting, some of this nutrition and things like that? And I mean, I just keep going back to the Weston book. I mean, once you read this book, I mean, I swear you will start eating animal products for your teeth, because it's just, it's insane, the information that's in it. And like, the best book out there on teeth is called The Dental Diet. As far as, in my opinion, it's the best, is that between that and the Weston Price book. And the Dental Diet author gets all their information from Weston Price.
Oh,
Is
wow.
Weston Price the same guy that does the teeth on like the cats study? Is he that guy? Where he gives the raw dairy to the cats, and then he gives the cooked dairy, and it shows the dental issues over the generations.
Oh, that he may have been done that one. It may have been done. I don't know exactly the one. I haven't read the whole book. I just kind of scan through it and I go through. I just have the PDF. But some of these chapters and things, I've mostly read about how he just studies, like the really old tribes and and everything.
From what you're saying, I'm gathering like it's almost like the China study of teeth, like just this
it's pretty
this big amount of info, kind of
exactly
all correlated. The only thing I know about Weston Price is like the feud between the plant-based doctors and the high-fat doctors that are animal-based. So I don't really know too much about it. I mean, I've heard lots of videos, but you always have each side, and I think we can all pull from both sides. That's always like what I've tried to do myself. But obviously, in the past, when I first got into the plant-based info, I mean, I'm just like, no, fuck those guys. Like, McDougal.
Yeah. Real quick. So I got in this phase, like right when I started introducing like more cooked carbs, and I was doing like Jordan Rider style, and I was doing like a lot of the refined sugar in my smoothies. And I was doing like a lot of rice and stuff, and I wasn't like doing any salads, like no vegetables, like legit straight high carb. And like it worked. Like my training was through the fucking roof, and I had hella energy. So I looked in the mirror and I like just kind of smiled, and I just, for some reason, I started taking note of my teeth, and I wasn't even brushing at all, like legit. Because I saw some dude on the internet, I don't want to say his name, but he was like, "Oh, you don't have to brush your teeth, do this, do that, whatever." So I like wasn't brushing my teeth. Actually, Light Samps, I actually messaged you, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, I forget exactly what I said, but it was something about teeth." And you were like, "Dude, you don't brush your teeth. Like, what are you doing? You gotta fucking brush your teeth, dude." And he said, "Get this stuff." And you sent me a picture of Harry's toothpaste.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, "This, you're like, this stuff is the best high quality toothpaste. It has like no, I think glycerin or something in it." And I'm honestly, I'm not sure why that's bad, but you're like, it has no fluoride, it has none of that bullshit, no chemicals. It's all natural. Get this stuff. I got it like immediately I'm not kidding, within 2 days, my teeth I was like, holy shit, it's like already like shining again. They're back. I actually have pictures of what my teeth looked like. And I'm like, what was I doing? I'm an idiot. Like we have these tools. Take advantage. You can brush your teeth. Take advantage. You can shower. Take advantage of the shower. Like it's okay to shower. Like I just think like we'll see people out there and they're like, "Oh, I don't need this. I don't need that. Like I'm a natural." Like, well, we don't live in a natural world anymore. This is a totally different world. Sometimes you got to adjust. Sometimes you got to make changes to better yourself, to better your health. So
I think we've all been there. It's almost like when you start to come into a certain way to eating, you may like, hey, I don't need this anymore in that, but you can also work yourself into some corners. I mean, I think that I can relate to Brandon, because I had wisdom teeth coming in and I was trying to solve some of it with, how I'm eating. Because I noticed like if I ate something unhealthy, it would be inflamed more. So if I eat healthier, it'll fix, right? When no, I needed to use a dentist to get it out and be able to be a normal functioning person again. So it's not like dentists don't have their problems. Like, of course, you got to do your research, find a good dentist. But at the end of the day, like, I'm so fucking glad we have dentists and doctors for things that, how can we control? What are we going to do when an infection's in our bone? Like water fast? Yeah. I mean, how many times can you do
that? Yeah, dude, I agree. I mean, that's what fascinates me about the Weston Price work, because like you said, these dentists are so important, because if we didn't have them, we'd be screwed. Those people in the jungles and in the tribes, they don't have dentists like that. They don't have the way to like rip teeth out like that. These people don't brush their teeth. So it's like, okay, well, what are they doing? Because no other animal on the planet brushes their teeth either. Why only humans? And so that's just that piece right there makes me take heed more into studying the nutrition of those tribes. Because if those tribes are in and they're eating their ancestral diet and they're not brushing their teeth, but they're 100 years old and they still have all of their teeth, that's a trip.
Yeah.
And and I have to take heed to some of this information. And the new holistic dentist I went to knew all about the Weston Price work, and she was all tapped into it all. And I'm just like, wow, dude, this is really interesting, because humans are the only people who brush their teeth on the earth.
Did you ever have amalgam fillings or anything?
Yeah, I got a mouthful of those things, bro. So I mean, like, I got a whole issue going on here, man. I mean, you probably see them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I actually had mine removed.
Yeah, I do. That is my like end goal, is once I take care of like all the immediate things that need to be taken care of, which is one more extraction, cavity, like, oh my gosh, so like
it's expensive.
Now here we go. Yeah, it ain't cheap, especially when you go to a nice list dentist. And it really got me thinking. Like, I did feel great. My soul felt great. My body felt good. That lifestyle served me well, but I mean, I can't help but to have that thought every single day that, man, maybe something in that diet wasn't serving me, or maybe I could have used a little extra something else. Now, I'm not advocating anyone to start eating 100% animal-based diet or anything, but I can just say 100% from my experience and my perspective, that adding in some eggs and some raw milk and stuff has already done a lot of stuff for my mouth, teeth, and gums. I could just feel it. They're way less sensitive to the cold. Like biting. If you like, your teeth hurt when you bite cold stuff, you're in trouble. That's the sign right there. So you can't bite into ice cream. You already know that your teeth are starting to weaken and your teeth are starting to thin and your animal's breaking down.
Cool.
So I don't think either of us can relate to this, but what would you say to someone from the outside looking in who didn't get into the detox and they also didn't become vegan, and they're not carnivore? They kind of do eat a balanced diet, and they just think, they look at me or you or MP or something, and they would say like, well, why don't you just eat normal to begin with? Have some bread, just don't eat too much bread. Have meat, don't have too much. Like, what do you think when you hear something like that?
I think, I mean, saying that to an 18-year-old kid with Taco Bell in his own car, it's hard to say. You know what I mean?
Smoking dope, getting high.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. There was lots of nights where I ate a ton of candy and never brushed my teeth and just fell asleep with about $10 worth of candy residue on my teeth and on my gums.
Right.
So I'm telling you, right. So so, I mean, I'm not saying like, I'm not here to bash like 100% the vegan diet was what did it. No, I had lifestyle things that did not contribute to my teeth 100%. Like, I definitely chose things that did not contribute.
I do think there's a lot of people out there who take really good care. They floss, they water pick, they brush, they keep everything clean. But really, like, that nutritional aspect that you're talking about is the weak link. So that if they miss one session of brushing, it's like, well, we just did more, the damage is done way quicker.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, and also, I just got to the point where, I started to get sick as heck. So, I mean, that's when I started to go full. I had to do something different. And, and I went home and found Dan McDonald and had to do something crazy to go raw because, I was not going to live the rest of my life with Crohn's disease. So, I'm so thankful. I'm so happy that I went through that, 5-6 years of the raw diet, of the vegan diet, because I wouldn't have known all this stuff. Like I still have just been doing the standard stuff. Like I wouldn't have known. I know like every single food additive, food chemical, like in the whole world, to what to look out for. I know every single ingredient. I can pretty much tell you every single ingredient in every single thing on the shelves in the stores. You know what I'm saying? Like I think we all can once we start looking into this stuff. And so I'm saying like it helped me. Not only did that lifestyle serve me as far as getting rid of, Crohn's disease and the inflamed bowel, but it also served me just to become more intelligent on the whole food spectrum. So I really, 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 I really have a lot of praise and a lot of respect, and I'm happy. I'm really happy I went on that path, and I wouldn't have regretted a thing.
Right. I respect that. A lot of people, like you said, will just bash it.
Yeah. No doubt. I actually have like a 3-in-1 question here. So the first, wait, at the end there, did you say that you didn't regret anything, or?
Oh yeah, I would not.
Okay.
I did not because one single thing.
Okay. Yeah. Cause I was going to say, like, did you have any regrets? A, B, like what you know now, would you have changed anything back then too? Or would you have kept it the same? And then C, would you ever like think about going like vegan again or plant-based, or do you think that you're going to always at least do some raw goat's milk or raw cow's milk or whatever, and eggs? Like, are you going to keep that up?
So knowing what I know now, after I got healthy again, after I got my body cleaned out and clear and I did all the detox and everything, I probably definitely would have added in nourishing foods, more nourishing foods and some things just to be safe, because knowing I know now, I have to include some of these animal products in my diet just to keep the teeth that because I'm such a strong believer in it now that I just have to. So, I'm already down this tooth. I've had a couple, I'm going to have this one pulled soon, like I still have my wisdom teeth, but those have cavities in them. Like, maybe I'm gonna have to get those pulled. I don't know, and like, so I would definitely add in some more nourishing foods after I cleanse. Cause I think I may have just, ringed the sponge a little too tight with all the cleansing and fasting, which was great for my soul, which is great for connecting to God. Like, dude, that's priceless. Like, that's priceless. Like the connection that I have with spirit, with Most High, with myself, with my higher self, with, with my metaphysical masterpiece upstairs. Like, there's no way I would have gotten to that point if I didn't go through what I went through with the high vibrational foods and yeah, dude, the biggest thing, here's the thing, I don't care. The biggest cheat code on planet Earth is not being afraid of death. If you can literally not be afraid of death, and if you can embrace it as Ram Dass says, it's like taking off a tight shoe. Oh my gosh, how much stress does that take away from your body, from your whole being? Because everyone's in the survival mode, earth, like survival. Once you finally surrender and let go, and you're just like, okay, like, if I go right now, like, boom, I'm 100% satisfied and happy, and I know what's on the other side, and my faith is so strong that I know I'm not going anywhere. You can't kill like Samps. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be back in one shape or another, a different form, a different energy, a different timeline, maybe a whole different universe, who knows? But I know that so deep in me that I'm never going anywhere, that my energy will always permeate through this entire existence. And that is something that you can't put any freaking price on. You couldn't pay me $10 trillion to say, forget what you've learned about yourself and spirituality. I swear to God, you couldn't pay me $10 trillion. It's not worth it. I feel like I have unlocked the ultimate secret in life. And that secret is not a secret. It's available to everybody. And it's that everlasting connection to source.
Wow. Wow, that was deep, bro.
Man, I'm telling you, bro.
Hey, mad respect to that, dude. Mad respect to that.
That's how I feel, bro. That's how I feel. So, I mean, I'm saying there's no way I would, anyways, yeah, I would introduce more nourishing after I cleanse. And in the future, I do think I'm going to continue doing the high conscious animal products until I need to cleanse. Maybe I need to cleanse. Maybe maybe you're gonna see me next year. I'm gonna be 100 pounds overweight, and then I'll need to do the cleansing. I mean, I really doubt that. You know what I'm saying? I'm playing like, but I'm gonna keep listening to my body. And right now, my body's like, hey, I'm liking these nourishing foods. I haven't got these in a long time. And it's helping my bone growth. And by the way, I'm not just making this stuff up about my tooth just so people listen like, oh no, he thinks his bone just isn't growing. I just got out of the CT scan at the dentist office, and CT scans obviously aren't great radiation, but I needed to be done to check the progress of the bone. And the dentist said too, she's very highly intelligent, one of the smartest holistic dentists in Portland area, and she says, yeah, no, your bone is not where it needs to be. And she's like, how long did you get this done? In January. I was like, oh, it's been like 11 months, 10 months or whatever. And she says, yeah, it definitely should have been a lot more healed by now.
Wow. So
that tells you like my intuition was correct. It wasn't where it needed to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I had what I want to say was there's a guy that I follow on Instagram. I'm not sure if AJ follows him or not. His name's like Thucydides. Dides. I can't really pronounce his name, but he's like, I think he's in medical school or he's in some doctorate school. And he's really big into like research and whatnot. And a lot of his stuff's pretty informative, whether I agree with it or not. And I remember him talking about, he says like people go on these certain diets, whether they do keto, carnivore, vegan, raw vegan, all these stuff, whatever, like they do that. It should only be for like a certain period of time. It should only be for like 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever, to heal and fix yourself. And then like, it's okay to go back to not like how you normally ate, but like, it's okay to like loosen up a bit, and eat other foods, like someone might say bread's not a good food to eat, but like other people think it's like amazing, like start eating bread, or sandwiches or whatever, stuff like that. Like it doesn't just mean, okay, go back eating Twinkies and brownies and bullshit, but like, it's okay to incorporate some other foods. So like, I think this relates perfectly with your story and how you were going through a lot of that cleansing and detox and fasting and stuff. And then 6 years later, it's like, you probably should have made a change earlier,
Yeah. Totally, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is that's exactly on the point where I was saying where, people stay on that lifestyle though for good. And then they identify with it and then they create a business around it.
Yeah.
And then they're pretty much stuck unless they want to just completely throw everything out there. And then everyone cancels you like Ravana and all this stuff, people see it. And it's just like, people got to understand people change and people, I mean, like, I don't know, man, there's some people in the community, big name people that I think would benefit from eating some food that would hormonally improve them. There's some people that are very old in the raw vegan diet who's said that they've never had sex before. And I'm just going to keep it real. Like, I don't know if you're like pushing like 40 years old and you're like saying you're a virgin, but you've been eating this raw vegan diet for like 30 years. Let's keep it real. Like, there's something in your body that's not hormonally slapping.
Right. I believe that there's like a spectrum with all this, because I feel like you can have that on the other side as well. Like people who are so against plants because they have all these anti-nutrients, and they can have good results, but they can also have really crap results, and they're afraid to include those like vegetables because of that, or because of the histamines. And like, I think that people may even think that I'm kind of like against fruit in a sense, when really I just think statistically, if you're eating mainly fruit, I think you're going to run into some issues long term. But that doesn't mean that there isn't people doing absolutely amazing on it. It's just like, how long can you do it, or how often are people going to run into the issues? And I like the fact that, you know, you're coming on here and you're showing respect to the people who are doing it still, and they're feeling good. And you're not like, hey, look, I feel as though the people who switch to carnivore or switch over to eating meat again, they think every single person who's eating vegan or plants is like, hey, you're doing it wrong, you're going to have a problem. When really it's more like there's a curve, there's a bell curve of it. Some people do great. Look at Rich Roll. I mean, Rich Roll, I think, is one of the best examples of a plant eater. But then you have people who clearly do fail and they just don't handle it well. And I think that for everyone out there, understand like, hey, everyone literally does have a different reaction, experience, need. And keeping that in mind, and then it's like, okay, cool, we can meet our needs versus stay on some kind of path, even though it's not serving us.
Yeah, a lot of people I think get stuck on that path of I mean, I'm gonna keep all the way real too. After stepping away from that whole community and the detox community and everything for this past, 9-10 months or whatever, and then I go back in and I start to see some of these people again with a fresh pair of eyes. The word mental illness comes to me a lot. And I'm seeing some of these people who in the past I looked at as maybe being a teacher, and then now I'm starting to think things differently, like this person is definitely still chasing something. This person is not happy. This person is still just chasing this infinite loop of cleansing, this infinite loop. When are they ever going to be finished? And then I see this in this new pair of eyes, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I start to almost feel bad, like, dude, I wish I could like shake you, bro, because like you know what I mean? Like I start to see some mental illnesses that come out of the whole detox crowd. And I don't like seeing that, because I love a lot of people in the detox community, and I've made friends with some of the best people I've ever known through the detox community and things like that. So it's a fine line. And then people really just get hooked on it and they start to do it for attention. And then, who can fast the longest? And then, you're not pure if you don't do this. But dude, this is just a human experience where infinite possibilities are here. And it's just a playground, and there's no right or wrong way. If there was a right or wrong way, you would have been born with a shock collar and you'd be shocked in your neck every time you did something wrong by God. The truth is, God allows you to do whatever you want in this planet, and each thing has a repercussion, and each thing has a reaction to what you're doing. Each diet has a reaction, and it's about following your path and finding what gives you your best personal reactions.
Wow. 100%. Damn, dude, I love that. I wanted to ask you another question, and I feel like, I don't know why, but I feel like I kind of have to ask this. So like, even me, like thinking about eating like an egg or meat or something, like I almost want to cry, and I just don't even think I could do it. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, even like the animal side of it, or like, does that have an impact on you? Like, can you feel that? Or, are you just kind of like, yeah, like I got to do this, this is the best for me, so like, where do you stand on that? And cause like, I mean, I think we can all agree, even my buddy, I roomed with him in college, one of my best friends, went to high school with him. He's like, Brew, I mean, dude, like I get it. That dairy industry, it's fucked up, man. Like how they treat those animals, like it's horrible. They do terrible stuff to them,
Yeah.
But I like how you, the words that you are using, I know you like to use the word sacred a lot, but like I can totally see like going out to someone who does have their own chickens and getting those eggs, other than just like going to the convenience store or the Gecko down the street and just getting eggs there, where those chickens are probably beaten to death, and slaughtered, whatever. So like, what are your thoughts on that, and how do you feel about that? you know?
Totally. I mean, as far as the quality is obviously 1,000%. I mean, I know all of the practices being in the vegan world for so long, the mass produced eggs, how they just roast through the male chicks and just kill them. And, the mass produced dairy, and taking the calves away and just like all that stuff. Like, I know, like I have the consciousness of that. So for me, bro, it's about finding the most local and like small operation kind of mom and pop operation I could do, like back in the day, how you would go over to, the farmer down the street and get some eggs from, Joe or whatever,
right?
And really just finding the small farms and finding the high quality stuff that does not practice, those larger scale operations of death, because I don't want to eat slaughterhouse meat. I don't want to eat that energetic of the slaughterhouse of,
right.
The cows just lining up and things like that. Now, on that same subject though, like I am very, me personally, and my consciousness and where I'm at with my point of view is, I believe that every single soul incarnated on this planet for the reason, whether it's into a human body, into an animal, into a chicken, into a cow, into a deer. I believe that all these souls come in, it's predetermined and pre-planned. And if this one soul says, okay, I'm coming down as this cow, and one day I'm going to have my life ended so I can provide life and keep life going for others, that's okay. Like honestly to my core, I am to that position that I believe that everything is predetermined before the souls come here, and it is understood what's going to happen. And with that type of a thought and mindset, it really allows me to go deeper into it. And it is a sacred practice, and it is okay. Thank you so much for ending your life to continue my life. And and then there's other things like the alchemical practice is pretty much like the deepest practice you can get on earth. If you want to start studying things, if you want to start breaking things down, then you start taking classes in alchemy. You start learning how to tincture, you start learning how to make spagyrics. Some of these things are the highest levels of alchemy on the planet. And the interesting thing about alchemy work is, to an alchemist, plants, metals, animals are all the same thing. They all have a soul. They all have a oil that can be extracted, and they all have salts. And so when you're dealing with these three principles in alchemy, the alchemist will take a moringa, or golden seal, or St. John's wort, any of these herbs. Or the alchemist will take, let's say a rabbit, because people literally make medicines out of rabbits. People make medicines out of snakes. People make medicines out of tarantulas. I have tarantula medicine. People make medicines out of all these different insects and animals. And when they do that, they extract the same three principles from the plants as they do the animal. And so when they're looking at these things extracted, the soul, the spirit, the oil, they're seeing the exact same things. And once I really went deep with that, because my friend, shout out Gnosis, shout out Sky, he's one of the most intelligent alchemists in the game. And once he really, really provided that lens and that angle to me, it really, really, really blew my mind. Because when you start to break everything down on a deeper level, and you break things down literally to a microscopic level, everything's the same. Wow. Everything is exactly the same. And then once he told me that, I'm just like, whoa. Now, of course, plants don't have as much feeling, they say, obviously, as animals, things like that. But the plants know, dude. The plants know. For people listening, there's been studies where they grew plants, a big row of plants, I don't know what, I think it was like tulips or something, a big row of them. And one person walked by as a test person, didn't do anything, just walked right by the plants. The scientists had things hooked up to the plants, monitoring certain movements, certain energetics aspects of it. When they walked by the tulips, they didn't do nothing to the person that didn't touch the tulips. The second person that came ripped one of the tulips out of the ground and walked away. They observed all the other plants tweaking out when that happened. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You see that over there? Like, wow, 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 we could be next. Whoa, what's going on? They felt the roots of that plant leave. And then they brought back the original guy that didn't pull any of the plants, walked right past the plants, that didn't do anything. And then they brought back the guy who ripped a plant out of the ground again. This guy did was walk past them. The plants knew that was the guy who ripped it out, and the plants started to tweak out. The energetics in the plants and the meters that they were using, bump, 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 started going through the roof. They recognized that guy from the first time. So when people say that plants don't have all these feelings and stuff, they actually do. They actually really do. And I am to the belief that humans are, I'm to the belief that, it doesn't matter what we're doing. We're changing nature some way. We're ending the life of some way, whether it is an animal, whether it is the plant, the life is still ended. And the other plants know it. The animal knows it too. Everyone knows it. It is just the value that we assign to it. Because, okay, this animal has 2 eyes, 4 legs, cuddly, is this value that we assign to it. And at the end of the day, we're all one being. Like, we're all the same exact thing. And let's just be really honest, life does eat life. And that is kind of the basis of Earth. Yeah, of course there's non-meat eaters, big animals, but they're still eating life too. You know how much freaking grass and stuff giraffe eat? They eat a lot. They're grass murderers. You know what I'm saying? Like these animals still eat a lot of life. And I think people just assign value what life is more important than other life, when all life is sacred. So that's my personal long-winded explanation of that. So I'm going to try to do as much, as least harm as I possibly can, and support the best things I possibly can. But I'm not fazed by that whole kind of vegan argument, just because I think I cracked the code deeper than that personally.
Right. And you could even take what you said as far as, hey, we're all one, and just not only use that with diet, but just we're all one. So why don't we treat each other a little better? People have an opinion or different, take your pick of differences. I think that's where we get the real progress and good communication, so that everyone has the best information instead of just polarizing it.
Oh yeah, totally. And I think that's why it's cool you guys are on, because obviously, you guys are, from what I can see, mostly plant-based vegan guys, and and I'm sitting here, talking about, ending certain animal life. So, and we're having a nice, beautiful, constructive conversation. So I really appreciate y'all for having me on, and allowing me to give my viewpoint and my perspective out there in a broader way, because yeah, man, I've had some things I needed to say, and I've pretty much just said it all right there.
No, yeah, that was beautiful, man. That was beautiful. Thank you.
And relating to what you were saying about how when you were on the high vibe foods, and it really kind of giving you the key to unlock, the gift that you wouldn't give away for anything.
Yeah.
I actually, even though I had terrible experiences with my fasting and juice fasting, at the end of my 38-day grape juice fast, I feel like I just dropped my ego in terms of feeling any kind of superiority in terms of who I am, how I eat, all these types. None of it matters to me at all. I think that's important, how we take care of ourselves, but as far as some kind of ego or influence or anything like that, I relate to that, because I think that's really important, because it keeps you from being stuck in that dogmatic state with the food and doing it because you should, not because it's what you need.
Yeah,
Totally.
man. I think we've all been there, man. I mean, I'll be 100% honest. I mean, I was just there, you know. I mean, I think we all like when we're on the vegan path, I think we all like to say like, oh, I don't have any judgment. I don't have any judgment. But then when you see like some people like just eating a bunch of meat or something, like there is still that little piece of you that's just like, oh man, like that ain't it, bro. Like
Right.
Well, there's a difference between some judgment and just actually believing like you're superior or something.
Yeah.
Because I think we look at it from above, where it's kind of like, oh, we notice it, but we don't like identify with it.
Yeah, totally. That's a beautiful thing, man, to be able to embrace the differences of everybody. And you know, if we were all the same, I mean, this place would be boring, bro. I'd want to be somewhere else if we were all the same. So
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, even all my friends are like, hey, MP, does this make you like feel bad, or what do you think? I'm gonna eat a whole cow tonight. What are your thoughts on that, dude? You know, they're just like total dicks to me, but
yeah,
I'm just like, it's just, if anything, it's just a reflection upon them. You know, it's not, I'm just like, you do you, man, it's your life. You know, I ain't gonna say shit to you, you know?
Yeah, totally. But how old are you two?
Can be fun.
How old are you guys?
I am
well, let's see, bro. I don't know, bro. You're pretty. Let's see, 20, 23.
I'm 26.
26. Okay. For some reason, I thought you were younger, bro. I thought you just had your 21st birthday there.
Hey, say less, cuz. I wish, fam.
I'm gonna have to go. AJ, let's see. I don't know, bro. I know if I say more ages, you think, oh man, Light Samps thinks I look older than Brew Brew. Let's go with 24, bro.
24. 29.
29. Okay.
Thank you. I'm old enough to where I love to hear it. That's what.
Yeah, there we go, bro. Cool. Nice.
How old are you?
Yeah, 32.
Oh, damn, really?
32, bro.
Damn, cuzzy. I was not expecting that at all.
Hey, man, you know, it's the high vibe fruits that kept me young for a while, man.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
Usually people's passion starts to go down as they get older, but you seem as though you're just as passionate as a fucking 14-year-old.
Yeah, man. I mean, shit. I have to be, because I mean, once you start losing your excitement in life, that's when you start really wearing down, you know. When your body knows, okay, like it's the person that's running the show has no more passion, has no more excitement in his life, then it starts shutting down, you know. So I want to be excited my whole life, bro. If I'm not excited, I'm gonna be switching it up.
I love that.
And right now, this raw milk's got me excited. It's trippy.
Hey, so
there's nothing better than feeling good, dude.
Right.
It's true, man.
Right. Yeah, I think one of the biggest points that we want to make here in the podcast is that definitely we all want to be healthy. You know, we all want to feel good. We all want to have high vibes. You know, no one wants to be sick. It sucks being sick. It's horrible. It's the worst. You know. So, but anyways, I have one more question for you, and then AJ, if you have anything else. I think we're about an hour and a half here.
I think that's good.
Yeah, totally. So I wanted to ask you, like, I feel like there are a lot of people out there who are vegan. They don't want to include the animal products for whatever reason, for their health, for the animals, whatever that may be. Now, for somebody who is on like a plant-based diet, plant-based lifestyle, what are like maybe 3 foods or like the top food they should be eating, or maybe like should they do herbs? Like, what do you think are the best practices for someone who's plant-based to ensure that they are going to be healthy? Or if you don't believe there are any, then that's totally cool. But like, what do you think? You know, like, is it an avocado? Should it be running? Is it sure you drink water? Don't be an idiot. You know, is it the sleep? Is it like drink green juice? You know, like what, like from your experiences that you've had, like, what do you think are the top 3 foods or herbs or whatever? Is it supplements? You know, I know you talk about shilajit a lot. Like what
I love shilajit.
Yeah. So like, what do you think? You know, and I know that you're super into the herbal stuff. I know, dude, you like when I followed you, I mean, been following you for a while. Like back in the day, you'd always be posting like these crazy herbs. Like, this is for this. This is for this. If you have this health issue, try this. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think there's I mean, there's a laundry list of different herbs to help certain specific organs, but here's one thing that that you need in your life to be healthy that you can't get in an herb tincture bottle, and that's happiness. I think happiness is the number one thing for your health, for your well-being, for everything. If you're not happy in your relationship, leave, like, now. If you're not happy in your job, leave now. What are you doing? You could die tomorrow, like, literally, you can tomorrow. And you know what would happen is, if you were in a job that you hate, in a relationship you hate, and you die, you would instantly think, oh my gosh, why did I waste that incarnation at that job doing this, doing that? Create happiness somehow. Formulate a practice, some sort of practice that keeps your happiness, whether that's a little meditation every day to center yourself before you let the world control you, control yourself. Whether that's getting outside, getting your bare feet on the ground, that's huge. Actually, that's definitely up there for me too. Is getting your bare feet on the ground and allowing that sun to come down and hit your hair, hit your skin, hit your eyes. Don't directly look at the sun unless you're too crazy, but there's sun gazing is a whole different thing. But just do your research before you sun gaze. I'll say that. Right. I love sun gazing. Personally, that's one of my practices that keeps me happy, is getting my feet in the grass. And when I can get the sun, getting the sun on the skin, that's honestly like the number one thing. If you can get up in the morning and get outside and breathe and put your feet in the grass, you're going to set your circadian rhythm up to know what's going on. You're going to be able to sleep, which is, your whole body's going to be attuned to the sun. I mean, if we're not, this is just ancient primal ways. We would get up with the sun, go to sleep with, when it's dark. And people are kind of losing that. People are just kind of being inside the home all day, or going straight from their home to their car with shoes and rubber insoles and everything. And no one's ever getting their feet connected back to the earth. Every single animal on earth always has their feet connected to the ground, wow. All wild animals. So number one, I would say, connect back to the roots of the earth. And that is done with grounding, and getting the sun out there, and drinking clean water. Drinking clean water is huge. If you're drinking tap water, how are you going to heal dousing yourself with chlorine all day long? If there is, your shower, if you don't have a shower filter, you're just as stupid as drinking chlorinated water, because when you take a shower, all it takes is like 5 minutes of shower with chlorinated water, and it's like you already drank a 16-ounce glass of it straight to the dome. So like basics, things like that, getting the feet in the ground, getting clean water, getting filtered water, and just, and being happy, and just being happy, finding something in your core to keep the happiness, to give you that spark, to carry you to the next day, to give you something to look forward to. And maybe a certain diet will help you become happier, and maybe you need to take heed to that. Maybe if you've been feeling like crud, and then you try a different food group out, you start feeling better, you start producing more feel-good serotonin, dopamine chemicals in your brain. Follow that. So, and things like Shilajit, I love Shilajit. It's one of the most, mineral packed supplements on the planet. It oozes out from the rocks, millions of years old, super fire. So concentrating on high quality supplement like that, but don't look for your happiness in the supplements. Don't look for your happiness in the herbs. Those are going to be created within here. And you got to be happy with yourself. Once you're happy with yourself, it'll just trickle out, and you will be guided to where you need to go.
Awesome. That was great.
Beautiful.
Well said, man. Well said.
Thanks, bro.
Beautiful. Wow. So that's all I have for you tonight. AJ, anything else?
Yeah, just in closing, Brandon, thank you so much for coming on. I always enjoy having conversations with people who are able to hold a space and educate at the same time, be open as well. You are definitely, the fact that you were, in the past inspired by Dan. I knew right from off the bat that you were going to be a guy who comes in here humble and kind, but also full of information, full of passion. I love the energy you brought to this podcast. Probably the most energized person we've had on yet. I love
Let's go.
I love how long-winded you are. I think that shows how interesting and passionate you are about the subjects. And thank you for shining a new light for some people and being able to make everyone kind of feel comfortable at the same time, giving them something to take away from the episode. I really want to thank you, man. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Hey, it was a pleasure to meet you too, brother. I really appreciate you guys. I've known Brew for a long time, AJ, and now I know you, bro. So let me hit you back with that follow after this, and we'll stay connected. We'll stay in touch. And yeah, dude, shout out to everyone who's made it this far. Yo, it's the light Samps living, baby.
Yeah, man, I love that. Good stuff, Matt. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Anyways, all I gotta say is stay up, be great. Always keep it HUNNIT, baby.
Don't starve, eat food, stay hungry.
Love y'all.
Love you too, boys.